Hello, trading is closed on October 15th, 2020. Let's do our standard disclaimer. Go over yesterday's call, make a prediction for Friday, October 16th. This is my trading plan for tomorrow. If we gap sharply in the undesired direction, the call is killed before the open. Can't guarantee the plan's right, so trade at your own risk. Happy to see people have stopped, for now at least, they've stopped posting ads for their gurus on my replies. If anyone posts, I'm just going to delete it and block you. So I'm glad that's stopped. Anybody wants to make a prediction, just give the prediction, give the reason. If you have to contact me, here's my email address. Okay, enough for preliminaries. We looked for a drop today, and probably a pretty good one. That happened, but it all happened right at the beginning. So anyone who didn't act on it overnight didn't get any money out of the call, even though the call was correct. Look for the pattern with the early high. This is it. Tomorrow's pattern has the early low. We have a new MEJT target, 3467.44. If we don't gap up smartly, that's my call for tomorrow. So just a review of what we said. These are my calls for the early highs and early lows of next week. Well, during the day, MEJT said this rally was not the real thing. Gives us a target, 3467.44, most likely to print tomorrow. Well, normally this is a positive pattern. The low of the day prints in the first bar. You rally all day long, hit your high right in the final hour, close to the close. You'll see that all we've done so far is to retest the lows of the prior consolidation. If this rally were to amount to anything, you'd want to overtake some of the highs of the prior consolidation. So even though this is normally positive, if all you do is retest this resistance level and stop, all this positive action hasn't accomplished anything. That's why if you're a bull, you want to gap and take this high out promptly. Here's how we're counting the waves. We've stopped here. We do think we're going to hit new all-time highs before too much time passes. It's just a question of what happens now. Well, again, it's impossible to be confident of the wave count at this point in the pattern. There are too many ways to count it. But as long as this one's working, I'm going to stick with it. And I have this in wave green C down. So let's look at this action to see if it's a logical place for this wave green C to end. Well, here's where I think it starts. You can count an A, B, C down with good fibs, and that would be a larger A. Today's action forms an ABC with C equal to A. And it's also a 61.8% retracement of this last wave down, this wave blue C. So right now, if we stop here, and we don't know for certain if we will or we won't, but if we stop here, all this did was give you a standard retrace, and it's ready to drop again, particularly with the lower MEJT target. Now, futures are up as I'm recording this, and it's entirely possible we gap take this out and the whole idea falls apart. But if that doesn't happen, if we don't take this out, This is certainly one of the logical places for this recovery to end. These are my calls for next week. We have mixed signals. Let's go over them. Standard rules we're going to use. Friday pattern has the early low, doesn't mean you won't gap up. Typically it's a rally day with a final hour high. Tends to be positive, particularly on a Friday. But if there's an early drop, the tables are turned. Early weakness usually leads to additional weakness in days to come, even if the rest of the day trends higher. So that's mixed signals. The early low, day-long rally. Late high is positive. Typically it follows through. If it doesn't follow through, it's trouble. But not overtaking the prior highs. So far we've just retraced the recent drop, and that's not a sign this decline's over. Today's high is one logical place for this rally to end, and that's an if, we drop right from the open tomorrow, the normally bullish day should turn negative instead. There's a lower MEJT target. Unless we gap up smartly, I think it'll print. So we'll have close eyes on tomorrow's open. If we gap up here, take this high out, clear these highs. We don't have to stop here. But if we start dropping, if this holds and there's an early drop, it could turn into a pretty negative day. So I think the early trade is going to be critical. It's the pattern with the early low, and that's today's call.